High above us, two great lights govern the sky, yet their dance is more than a celestial routine. It is one of the most profound maps for human transformation ever conceived. This is the story of the alchemical wedding of sun and moon, a cornerstone of ancient wisdom that is not about stars, but about the secret to unifying your own inner opposites. By the end of this journey, you will possess a powerful framework to reconcile the conflicting parts of your own psyche and achieve a lasting sense of wholeness. What mysterious process must the soul endure before this sacred union can occur? And what is born from the marriage of these two eternal forces? What part of your own life feels divided between logic and intuition? This sacred union finds its deepest roots in the cryptic workshops of the ancient alchemists. They were not mere gold seekers. Their true laboratory was the human soul, and their ultimate aim was the creation of the legendary Philosopher's Stone. This was not a physical rock, but a symbol of the perfected self, a state of unshakable wholeness and enlightenment, and the entire path to creating this stone was mapped by the alchemical wedding. Every flask, every furnace, every strange symbol was a coded instruction for inner transformation. The chemical reactions they described were, in truth, a profound spiritual recipe. At the very heart of this entire process lies a powerful two-word command: solve et coagula, dissolve and coagulate. This is the fundamental rhythm of the wedding itself. First, you must dissolve. This means breaking down your rigid identity, your fixed beliefs, and the old patterns that keep you trapped. It is a conscious unmaking, a necessary chaos where everything you thought you were is taken apart. Only then can you coagulate. You reassemble these purified elements into something entirely new, something unified and far stronger than the original. This is the sacred dance. The sun and moon are the two primary ingredients in this great work. In the beautiful and intricate emblems found in texts like the Rosarium Philosophorum, they are depicted as a king and a queen. The sun, often shown as a king in brilliant gold, represents the active principle within us. Think of it as your conscious will, your logic, your fiery passion and drive. This is the energy of sulfur, which the alchemists saw as the soul of matter. The moon, portrayed as a queen in shimmering silver, embodies the receptive principle. She is your intuition, your dreams, your deep emotional waters and unconscious wisdom. This is the quality of Mercury, the spirit that flows through all things. In these ancient images, you see them not as distant orbs, but as royal figures approaching one another, preparing for a sacred marriage. Their union is the ultimate act of coagulation, where our inner king and queen come together to rule a peaceful, integrated kingdom within. So what must be dissolved within you to make room for this royal couple? These archetypes live within each of us as a king and queen of our inner world. The sun represents the sovereign of your conscious mind. Think of it as the part of you that makes lists, solves problems, and navigates the daylight world of responsibilities. This solar king is the energy of focused logic, your individual ego, and the powerful drive to stand out as a unique person. It is the fatherly principle that provides structure and purpose, pushing you to achieve and to define yourself against the world. Yet this king, for all his brilliance, sees only what his torch illuminates. He is unaware of the vast, shadowy chambers of his own castle. The moon, his queen, rules those very chambers. She is the empress of the unconscious, the deep well of intuition that speaks in feelings rather than facts. This lunar principle is your connection to the timeless, the realm of dreams, emotions, and the collective wisdom we all share. It is the receptive feminine energy, the motherly embrace that understands connection over separation, and the soul's poetry over the mind's prose. In our modern lives, we are often taught to crown the solar king and ignore the lunar queen. We privilege logic until our intuition feels like a ghost, and we champion individuality until we feel utterly alone. This creates a civil war in the psyche. The king demands order while the queen longs for flow. The ego shouts for control while the soul whispers for surrender. We feel perpetually off balance, pulled between doing and being, thinking and feeling. The alchemical wedding is the sacred process of ending this inner conflict. It is the moment the king descends from his throne to truly listen to his queen, and she, in turn, brings her deep wisdom into the light of day. This reconciliation is what the psychologist Carl Jung called individuation, the journey toward becoming a complete and indivisible person. It is not about the sun conquering the moon or the moon drowning the sun. It is about their sacred marriage where your logic gains soul and your intuition gains a voice. What would it feel like to have these two rulers finally governing your life in harmony? But this royal union cannot happen without a descent into darkness first. Before the king and queen can even meet, they must each face a part of themselves they have long denied. This is the confrontation with the shadow, the essential and turbulent courtship that makes the wedding possible. In the language of alchemy, this stage is called the nigredo, the great blackening. It is a time of profound despair and confusion where the familiar structures of your personality begin to decompose. Think of it as a spiritual winter, a necessary dark night of the soul where everything you thought was solid and true crumbles into black earth. This is not a sign of failure, but the first and most vital step in the alchemical recipe. You must dissolve before you can coagulate, and the shadow provides the acid that makes this dissolution possible. So what is this shadow? It is the hidden part of your inner king and queen, the collection of all the traits, desires, and impulses that your conscious self has deemed unacceptable and repressed. For the solar king, his shadow might be his vulnerability, his hidden fears of inadequacy that his royal ego cannot admit. For the lunar queen, her shadow could be a buried anger or a fierce will that her gentle, receptive nature has learned to suppress. We all carry this shadow, and it holds tremendous power over us precisely because we refuse to see it. In modern life, the nigredo rarely arrives by invitation. It often feels like a major life crisis that shatters your world. It is the sudden collapse of a career you built your entire identity upon. It is the deep depression that follows a loss where all your old motivations turn to ash and lose their meaning. It is the shattering of a long-held belief about yourself or someone you loved, leaving you feeling disoriented and utterly alone in the darkness. This painful decomposition, however, is the alchemical furnace at work. The old, rigid personality is being broken down so that its essential elements can be purified and reclaimed. The king must confront his weakness to find true strength. The queen must acknowledge her power to offer genuine compassion. This is the messy, difficult courtship where your inner opposites learn to see each other for the first time, not in the bright light of day, but in the fertile blackness of a moonless night. What if this very darkness is not your enemy, but the sacred ground from which a new self is destined to rise? Out of that fertile darkness, a new dawn finally breaks. The long separation ends in a moment of profound recognition, where the king and queen do not merely meet but fully embrace. This is the Conjunctio, the sacred marriage, and it is the climax of the entire alchemical journey. It is not a loud, celebratory event, but a deep and silent merging. Your conscious mind, the solar king, lowers its defenses and finally listens to the intuitive wisdom of the lunar queen. In turn, your unconscious, with all its deep feelings and ancient knowing, rises to be fully acknowledged and integrated into your daily life. This union resolves the inner civil war, creating a state of profound peace and self-awareness where you are no longer at odds with yourself. You feel a deep, unshakable calm, as if two great rivers that were flowing in opposite directions have finally joined to become one powerful, serene stream. And from this sacred union, something miraculous is born. A third, entirely new element emerges, known in alchemy as the divine child or the rebis. This is not a physical child, but a symbol of your unified self, a new central personality that transcends the old conflict. The abyss possesses the qualities of both parents, blending the king's focused will with the queen's flowing intuition. In the strange and beautiful art of the alchemists, the abyss is often depicted as a single being with two heads, one male and one female, or as a single body holding both solar and lunar symbols. This powerful image of the hermaphrodite is not about physical form, but about a complete psychological wholeness. It represents a state where you are no longer torn between logic and feeling, action and receptivity, or your personal identity and your connection to the whole. You become a living paradox, comfortably holding what once seemed like opposites. The drive to achieve is now infused with deep, soulful purpose. Your compassionate intuition now has the focused will to act in the world. This is the birth of true inner authority, where every decision comes from a place of unified intelligence. The divine child is the living embodiment of the philosopher's stone, the culmination of the great work. It is the part of you that is finally and irrevocably whole. How would your life change if your every action came from this deep, unshakable center? This sacred marriage is not a distant myth, but a living process you can invite into your life right now. The great work unfolds in our most ordinary moments, transforming daily routines into a laboratory for the soul. To cultivate this inner wedding, we must consciously honor both the sun and moon within us through deliberate practice. This means balancing active, solar activities with receptive, lunar ones, creating a rhythm where both rulers can thrive. Your solar nature calls for focused action. This is the energy you engage when you tackle a project at work, push through a challenging workout, or analyze a complex problem. These are vital expressions of your inner king, bringing structure and achievement into the world. But this drive must be balanced by its lunar counterpart. Your inner queen requires quiet time for meditation, for walking in nature without a goal, for journaling your dreams and feelings, or for losing yourself in a creative hobby like painting or music. These are not indulgences, they are essential acts of governance for the intuitive self. When you schedule a time for focused work and then honor a period of quiet reflection, you are performing a small, daily alchemical wedding. You are telling your inner king and queen that both are welcome at the table. This balance becomes especially powerful when making decisions. How often do you rely solely on a list of pros and cons, ignoring the quiet gut feeling that tugs at you? Or perhaps you follow a fleeting emotion without consulting the clear light of reason. The unified self draws from both wells. It allows the logic of the sun to present its case, and then it turns to the intuition of the moon and asks for its deepest knowing. The final choice is not a victory for one side, but a synthesis born from their respectful dialogue. Our relationships offer another powerful arena for this practice. We all have both assertive and nurturing sides. The alchemical work asks us to give a voice to both. This might mean consciously choosing to be vulnerable and receptive with a partner when your default is to take charge and fix things. Or it could mean finding the courage to be direct and set a firm boundary when your tendency is to absorb and accommodate. By flexing these different muscles, we stop identifying with just one role and start experiencing the full spectrum of our humanity. This is not a one-time achievement, but a continuous, gentle recalibration. The goal is not a perfect, static balance, but a dynamic dance where you are always listening, always adjusting, always inviting the exiled parts of yourself back into the whole. The wedding is not over when the rings are exchanged. It is renewed with every conscious choice you make. What small, deliberate act could you take today to honor the king or queen within you? The king and queen within you are far more than just masculine and feminine. They represent a universal law that governs everything from the smallest atom to the vast expanse of the cosmos. This is the principle of polarity, the fundamental dance of opposites that gives our universe its rhythm and life. Everywhere you look, you will find this dynamic interplay. There is no light without the contrast of darkness, no heat without the concept of cold, no life without the reality of death, and no soaring spirit without the grounding presence of matter. The alchemical wedding is the ultimate blueprint for how to work with this eternal law, not by letting one side conquer the other, but by uniting them into a creative whole. Think of the natural world. A forest needs both the brilliant energy of the day for growth and the quiet, restorative darkness of the night for rest. A single flower requires both the solid, grounding earth for its roots and the free, open air for its petals. In the realm of physics, consider the simple magnet. Its power to attract comes entirely from the dynamic tension between its positive and negative poles. If you were to cut a magnet in half, you would not get a separate positive piece and a negative piece. You would instantly create two new, smaller magnets, each with its own complete set of opposing poles. They are inseparable, and their very existence depends on this opposition. This is the profound secret the alchemists encoded in their symbols. True power and genuine creation never come from a state of bland uniformity where all differences are erased. They arise from the sacred tension between distinct forces and from the conscious, loving act of bringing those forces into partnership. When you try to live only in the light, denying your own shadows, you become brittle and one-dimensional, like a sun that never sets, burning everything to a crisp. When you dwell only in the receptive darkness, refusing to act, you risk dissolving into formlessness, like a moon that never reflects any light. The magic happens in the meeting point, in the fertile ground where your personal sun and moon agree to share the sky. Your greatest strengths are often hidden in the very qualities you have tried to reject. What dynamic opposites are waiting within you to create a new kind of power? We have built a world that worships the sun. Our culture celebrates constant activity, relentless productivity, and the brilliant light of logical analysis. We are taught to chase goals, to optimize our time, and to value only what can be measured and explained. This solar dominance has brought us incredible technological advances, but at a great cost to our inner world. We have systematically devalued the moon, and in doing so, we have severed our connection to a profound source of wisdom. The lunar principle is the intelligence of the unseen. It speaks through the mysterious language of dreams, which are not random neural firings but a nightly council where your unconscious mind processes experiences, reveals hidden fears, and offers creative solutions your waking self could never formulate. It is the deep knowing of your own body, that gut feeling or intuitive hit that arrives long before your conscious mind has assembled the facts. This is the wisdom that bubbles up during a quiet walk in the woods when you're not trying to solve anything, or in the sudden flash of insight that strikes in the shower when your logical mind is finally at rest. This lunar knowing is not irrational, it is trans-rational. It operates on a different wavelength, one of feeling, symbol, and connection. When we repress this vital side of ourselves, we do not become more efficient, we become ill. The constant pressure to perform without the restorative balm of lunar receptivity leads directly to burnout, a state of profound exhaustion where your inner sun has burned all its fuel. It fuels a background hum of anxiety because a life lived only in the conscious mind is a life perpetually braced for the next problem, cut off from the deeper, calming currents of the soul. And it creates a pervasive sense of emptiness, a feeling that despite all our achievements, something essential is missing. That something is the lunar queen, the empress of the inner world, whose presence fills life with meaning, poetry, and a sense of belonging to something greater than ourselves. To invite her back, we must actively court her. Begin by honoring your dreams, keep a journal by your bed, and write down even the smallest fragments upon waking. Do not analyze them immediately, just record them with respect, as if you are receiving messages from a foreign diplomat. Spend regular time in nature without an agenda. Sit by a stream and listen to the water, or walk through a park and simply notice the colors and textures. This is not a waste of time, it is a vital audience with your own soul. Most importantly, engage in non-goal-oriented play. dance for no one, doodle without creating a masterpiece, or build something with your hands just for the pleasure of the process. In these moments, you are not producing anything for the outer world. You are sending a powerful signal to your inner moon that she is welcome, that her dark, fertile wisdom is needed to balance the brilliant but lonely light of the king. What forgotten dream or intuitive whisper have you been too busy to hear? The lunar queen offers her deep wisdom from the shadows, but it is the solar king who must build the castle to house her gifts. This conscious will is the essential fire of your being, the force that turns a fleeting dream into a lived reality. We often mistake this solar power for a domineering ego, but its true nature is far more noble. Think of it as a master craftsman in a forge. The unconscious mind provides the raw, molten ore of inspiration and intuition, a substance full of potential but without shape. It is the focused, disciplined heat of the solar will that hammers this ore on the anvil of action, giving it a definitive form and purpose in the world. Without this forging process, even the most brilliant insight remains a ghost, a beautiful idea that never learns to walk and talk in your daily life. Your inner sun is the architect of your destiny, the part of you that says a thing shall be done and then commits to the labor of making it so. How many profound ideas have you had that simply faded because they lacked the fuel of your focused intention? Cultivating this solar energy begins with the simple, powerful act of setting a clear goal. This is not about creating a rigid, joyless life, but about providing a direction for your creative force. A goal acts like a lens, concentrating the diffuse light of your awareness into a laser beam that can cut through distraction and inertia. It could be as tangible as finishing a project at work or as personal as establishing a consistent meditation practice. The key is the commitment, the conscious decision to channel your energy toward a specific endpoint. This solar practice must be paired with the strength to maintain boundaries. Your will is a finite resource, and it can be scattered by the demands and distractions of others. Learning to say no is not a rejection of connection, but a necessary act of stewardship for your own creative fire. It is the king declaring the borders of his kingdom, ensuring that his energy is reserved for the projects and people that truly align with his sovereign purpose. Finally, this entire process culminates in the most solar act of all, taking decisive action. All the planning and boundary setting in the world means nothing without the courage to take the first step and then the next. This is where the formless potential of the moon is baptized in the fire of doing. It is the moment you stop just thinking about writing that book and you write the first sentence. You stop just feeling you should exercise and you put on your shoes and walk out the door. Each action, no matter how small, is a strike of the hammer on the hot metal, shaping your inner world into your outer reality. This is not about suppressing your receptive lunar nature. A healthy sun does not seek to blot out the moon. It provides a stable, warm sky so that the moon's reflected light can illuminate the landscape with clarity and beauty. Your conscious will builds the stable vessel, and your intuition fills it with meaning. Your discipline creates the structure, and your soul fills it with life. They are co-regents, and neither can rule effectively alone. What single, focused action could you take today to build a stronger vessel for your deepest dreams? Our journey from the heavens to the human heart reveals a timeless truth. True wholeness is not found by choosing one side of ourselves over the other, but by courageously uniting them. We began with a sky divided between a brilliant sun and a reflective moon, and discovered they are not distant rulers, but the king and queen of our own inner world. This solar king of logic and drive and this lunar queen of intuition and feeling often exist in a state of civil war, creating the very conflicts and anxieties that shape our daily lives. This inner tension inevitably builds toward a crisis, the dark night of the soul the alchemists called the Negrido. It feels like everything is falling apart, but this painful dissolution is a necessary furnace, breaking down our rigid old self to make space for something new. It is from this fertile darkness that the sacred union becomes possible. The Conjunctio is that profound moment of reconciliation where the king and queen embrace, ending their long war. And from their sacred marriage, a miraculous child is born, the Rebis, the unified self, a being of wholeness that holds both sun and moon within a single, radiant spirit. This is not a mythical event locked in an old book. It is a living, breathing map for your own transformation, a path available to anyone who dares to look within. Every moment of inner conflict you experience, every time you feel torn between your head and your heart, is not a sign of failure. It is a secret invitation to begin the great work, to host the alchemical wedding within your own soul. The ultimate goal is not a life without storms, but a self that can weather any storm because it has learned to hold all of its parts in a sacred and creative balance. As you move forward from this story, take a quiet moment to look at your own life. Where is your inner sun shining too brightly, leading to burnout and exhaustion? And where has your inner moon been hidden, leaving you feeling disconnected from meaning and intuition? The balance is different for everyone, and the work is a lifelong, gentle dance. We would love to hear about your own relationship with these powerful symbols. Share your thoughts, your struggles, or your moments of integration in the comments below. Your story is a unique and vital part of this ancient, unfolding human conversation about what it means to be truly and completely whole.